Okay, for today's lesson, we are going to continue working in the coordinate plane, and we will be creating geometric figures from the points that we've plotted. And then after we've plotted the points and connected the points to create the figure, we will be giving the figure its best name. So we have some figures here that we have created, and we have this figure in the upper right. It's been created by points A, B, C, and D. And after we've plotted A at 1, 6 and B at negative 1, 3, C at 3, 3, and D at 5, 3, we connect the points in order, and we want to give this figure its best name, and this figure's best name would be parallelogram. It's a parallelogram because it has two sets of parallel sides. So our next figure is down here. Is created with points P, Q, R, and S. We see P is at 1, negative 2. Q is at negative 1, 1, or negative 1, negative 1. R is at negative 1, negative 6. And S is at 1, negative 5. And the figure that it creates is a trapezoid. It is a trapezoid because it has one set of parallel sides. And then our final figure here on the left is created with points W, X, Y, and Z. W is at negative 5, 4. X is at negative 7, 0. Y is at negative 5, negative 4. And Z is at negative 3, 0. And after you connect them, they form a rhombus. All right, for this next section, you will need your math textbook, book B, and we're going to plot some points and create some figures. The problems on page 46. And so on this coordinate plane, we're going to use this coordinate plane with questions 6, 7, and 8 on page 46. I'm going to do question 6 in red, question 7 in green, and question 8 in blue to help you see the different figures here. So for 6, we have 3 points that we need to plot. For number 6, our first point is point D, and point D is at 1, 1. So that would put point D right here, and I'm going to label it D. Our second point is E. E is at 0, 0. Well, 0, 0 is the origin. So I'm going to plot that point, and I'm going to label it E. And at this time, you can connect those two. You don't have to connect right now. You could connect them all later, but you can connect as you go. And then our final point is F. F is at negative 4, 4. So F would be right here since it's at negative 4, 4. And F connects to E. And then F would connect with D. We've closed our figure. And we would call that just simply a triangle. You don't have to call it an isosceles triangle. You can just name it as a triangle. Number 7. Our first point is J, and J is at negative 3, 0. So there's negative 3, 0. So there's J. K is at 0, 5. So I'm going to go up 5. And there's K right there. And I can connect J with K. And then L is at 3, 0. So there's L. And I connect K to L. And then I close it off by connecting J to L. And that, once again, is a triangle. And then my final figure that I'm going to put on this coordinate plane is number 8. The first point for number 8 is P, and P is at 3, 2. So there's P. And then Q is at negative 1, 2. So there's Q, kind of right inside there. And I'm going to go ahead and connect P to Q. R is at negative 1, negative 2. So there's R. Connect Q to R. And then S is at 3, -2. So I'm going to connect R to S, then S to P. And you can tell, now you can't tell it very well on here because my coordinate plane is not exactly perfectly square. My coordinate grid does not have the 1 unit by 1 unit exactly. So this one does look like a rectangle, but it is actually a square. If you did it on a proper coordinate plane, this would be a square. But based on its looks, you could call it a rectangle, but it is actually a square. I'm going to move on to questions 9, 10, and 11. Question 9 I'll do in black, 10 will be in red, and 11 will be in green. So for question 9, my first point is W, and W is at -3, 2. So there's W. X is at 1, -2. So there's X, and I need to connect those. My next point is Y. Y is at 3, 0. Connect X to Y. And Z is at -1, 4. So there's Z. Go ahead and close those off. And that is a rectangle. That is a rectangle for number 9. Number 10, A is at -5, 2. B is at -5, -1. There's B. Again, you don't have to connect them as you go, but if not, make sure you connect them in alphabetical order. C is at -1, -1. So there's C. D is at 1, 2. So there's D, kind of on the side there of our rectangle. And I'm going to connect, and that is a trapezoid. That is a trapezoid for number 10. Number 11, point E is at -2, -2. F is at -5, -5. F down here. Sorry, I had to kind of count that one out there, so it took me a little bit longer. G is at -2, -5. So there's G. And then H actually shares a point with X at 1, -2. So it's X and H sharing that. And that would be a parallelogram. So parallelogram for number 11. And then we have our final 3 figures here from page 46. We're doing questions 12, 13, and 14. 12 will be in blue, 13 in black, and 14 will be in red. All right, so for 12, our first point is J, and J is at -4, 1. There's J right there. K is at -3, -1. There's K. L is at 0, -1, so it's right there on the y-axis. And then M is at 2, 1. Now you'll notice this time I did not connect as I went, which is fine. If you do that, if you don't connect as you go, make sure that when you do connect, you go alphabetical order, and then finish it off by closing the last point to the first point. And number 12 would be a trapezoid. And then number 13, P is at 4, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Q is at 0, 4. R is at -4, 0. And S is at 0, -4. So again, connect in alphabetical order. PQRS does form a square. So that would be a square for number 13. And our final one here, number 14, we have W at -2, 0, so there's W. And X is at -3, -3. There's X, I'm going to connect these as I go. Y is at 1, 1. There's Y right there on our trapezoid. And I'm going to connect, try to get those straight lines there. And then Z is at 2, 4. And I connect those, and number 14 would be a parallelogram. Well, as always, I hope this helps.